Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day so far. I got a good one for you today. Justin Trudeau is back doing interviews in his caucus retreat, and he has blessed us with another wonderful video that we can get right into. Before we do that, if you like the video, if you could please subscribe and give a like, that would be awesome. But with no further ado, let's get into it.
And we'll continue to faire. Conversations here in Nanaimo have been focused on the things we need to continue to do to invest in Canadians, because confident countries invest in their workers, invest in their people, invest in their future, and that's exactly what we're going to keep doing. We'll stay focused on delivering the things that are making a difference for people right now and continue to build a strong economy for the future.
Election and that people in her riding want you to go. What can you say to your own MPs to convince them that she's wrong?
In a democracy, people will have all sorts of different perspectives, and that's important that we have that, including within the Liberal Party. The reality is all of us are focused on what to do to make sure that Canadians are being supported, are feeling confident about the future, are getting the housing they need, are getting school food for their kids and breaks on groceries, that we're doing the kinds of things that are actually putting the strongest balance sheet in the G7 in service of Canadians. That's what we're focused on, and that's how we're going to get Canadians through this difficult moment.
I don't know what he means by the strongest balance sheet in the G7. That doesn't even make sense. I guess every government would think that they have the best balance sheet out of the G7. So it doesn't mean that we have a good balance sheet, which is shown by our economy tanking. I can bring up the graph again on how we are one of the worst performing countries in the G7. And the only reason on our government polling statistics why it looks like we're in such a good shape is because we add the CPP into our statistics when doing like financial business and all that, to make us look like we're more financially viable than we actually are. Well, and financially stable. But the government has no access to that. So they can't actually use it. I don't know how our government gets away with doing that, but apparently they can. As for the school lunch program, $800 a year? What about the people? Like, it's great that families are saving $800 a year, but what about people like me who are single? What about people who don't have kids? They still have to pay into these programs through their taxes, so they're losing out on money and getting nothing for it. But we're talking about socialist Justin Trudeau here. It doesn't matter about the individual, it's all about the collective.
From Michael Conservative from CTV News, you've got two crucial by-elections coming up. I wanted to know, how much of those results are you seeing as a referendum on your leadership?
Listen, people are facing tough times right now, and that's why we continue to step up to deliver for them. We're there to invest in childcare. We're there to invest in dental care. 650 seniors have now had access to dental care, despite the fact that Pierre and his Conservatives have kept blocking it and kept pretending that it doesn't exist. They're all about cuts. We're about investing in a strong future for Canadians, investing in support for Canadians that they need right now.
I don't quite know what he means about Pierre Poilievre blocking dental care and pretending he doesn't it exists. He's taking a page out of the NDP playbook and trying to use it, and it sounds even dumber coming out of his mouth. Like I usually say in every single video, Pierre Poilievre has never said anything about cutting the dental care plan, and the only reason he blocked it was because it was financially unviable with how in debt Justin Trudeau has put us in. You don't keep on spending when you're $1.28 trillion in debt and counting. Do you know how many generations of Canadians will be paying that off? At least one, but most likely it's going to be 2 or 3, because we have to pay off the interest and the principal on that debt.
A lot of the tariffs on softwood lumber, they feel local businesses are actually in jeopardy because of it, with the possibility of a Trump presidency coming into play. What do you plan on doing with tariffs? We know he's going to probably hike everything coming in, and how is that going to affect the businesses here that are suffering on Vancouver Island?
A number of years ago, when Donald Trump was president, he brought in crippling tariffs on steel workers and aluminum workers across the country, in addition to other things that made life difficult for Canadian workers.
And I'm just going to pause it there because this is very significant. And do we remember what Justin Trudeau did then? He tried to renegotiate the NAFTA contract, and he went so far into gender politics that Mexico and the United States cut them out of the deal and pretty much did the deal between those two countries and just wrote Canada into it. If you look online, you can still see the pictures of the NAFTA agreement being signed, and it's the Mexican president and the U.S. president. And no Canada. I think they had our flags there, but no Justin Trudeau, none of our delegates, were there. That shows how terrible these liberals are at dealing with any country that opposes their ideology, or doesn't even oppose, just kind of goes against.
And we stood up for Canada, and we not only defended our steel workers and aluminum workers and forestry workers successfully, we also made sure that the American people and the American administration understood that things that hurt Canada also hurt their jobs and their future. And when we talk about softwood lumber, the reality is Americans are facing a housing crisis as well. Americans are facing challenges with the rising costs of housing, and paying more for lumber from Canada makes no sense for the American people. And that's an argument we are making with the American administration right now, and we're bringing it before trade tribunals, and we're going to continue to fight for the great jobs in Canada's world-class forestry industry that has demonstrated both the principles of sustainability, of responsible work practices, and of building a better world with a great Canadian, including BC lumber.
2 words, Trudeau: carbon taxes. Carbon taxes bring everything up. That's why the U.S. would rather just do their own forestry, go through themselves, do domestic, than deal with our government and our stupid carbon tax laws and environmental laws. Like, we have a lot of good environmental sustainability ones, but you've brought in such unreasonable taxes that it just makes Canada unviable.
Je reviens sur la question de mon estimée collègue Émilie par rapport à la partielle dans Verdun. Vision d'élection.
Pouvoir continuer à être d'en arracher pour appuyer les Canadiens. Scolaire, investir dans les soins dentaires pour les aînés, en politique. Veulent couper les dentaires que 650. Lui, il les couperait. Donc, on est là, et pour
I hope you'll take another question.
Pour les Canadiens.
Hi, Mr. Prime Minister. I hope you'll take another question. So we were promised 10 minutes with you. Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. You were asked at the beginning about Alexander Mendez's comments, and you sort of responded with some of the things we've heard from you, things like slogans like confident Canadians invest themselves. I'm not sure people really understand what that means. How do you convince people in sort of everyday language that you can actually win this election, given what people are hearing at the door, given what people are hearing from constituents, given what the polling shows? How do you actually keep them on board?
And I just want to stop it real quick and comment on this, that when Justin Trudeau is really, really good at this. He makes these slogans like we'll invest in Canadians so Canadians don't have to invest in themselves. We'll go into debt so Canadians won't have to. I admire China's basic dictatorship because their dictatorship has made it able for turn their economy on a dime. Like slogans like that are weird and don't make sense but are catchy. And this guy, like, he grills Pierre Poilievre on his catchy slogans, but at least Pierre Poilievre's, they make sense, like Axe the Tax, right? That makes perfect sense. And I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you, Marika, for asking me what it means to say that confident countries invest in themselves. Because that's the choice that we have made, and we've made it consistently since 2015, and it's more important now than it's ever been. Canada has one of the strongest balance sheets in the world, the lowest deficit, the lowest debt to GDP ratio amongst G7 nations, the highest per capita foreign investment in the G20.
So I thought I'd bring up the gross domestic product growths of the G7 statistics from Statistica, just to kind of challenge him on GDP growth rate. Because we all know that Canada does not have the same GDP, or I've shown multiple times, we do not have a good GDP right now. We are the second worst. But Trudeau's spewing out that we have one of the top growth rates right now, which we do. But let's look at the actual growth rates of GDP, shall we, and see if that's such a good thing or not, or is this kind of just manipulating the truth? So we can see in 2024, which is this year, yeah, Canada is the second highest after the United States, but we're only growing at 1.15%. So, and the United States is growing at 2.73. Now, the United States has more people than we do, but by a percentage of a growth rate, that shouldn't make any difference, the amount of people that you have. So in 2023, look at here. 2023, we were doing awesome. It was a growth rate of 3.82. Oh, wait, no, sorry. We're at 2022. Yeah, 2022. Sorry about this. Though we were still in the middle of the Great Cold, and all that kind of federal funding money was rushing in. Then 2023, and we just tank to 1.07. At least we're not like Germany, who is at minus 0.3. And now we're just starting to go up. So in a year, the amount of GDP that we gained is 0.08. Let's just let that sink in. In a year, the only growth we've had is 0.08%. Now, let's look at the other countries. So, in a year, United States has had 10%. UK has increased 30% between 23 and 24. Japan their rate actually decreased to 0.86. That is unfortunate, but they're going through things right now. Italy, same with Italy. Italy decreased by 20%. Germany increased a ton. They increased about what would that my math be? 18%. France decreased, and so to be completely honest, it's not great. We're going up. Woohoo. And I don't think it's really fair to say we're the second best out of 7 countries, which is kind of ridiculous when you put it into perspective. At least be like, hey, we're the second best out of all NATO. I know we're not, but like choose NATO, a massive pool. With this, we're one of the biggest fish in a tiny, tiny pond, not even a small pond.
Companies around the world are investing their futures in Canada. We were the 3rd largest country in the world for foreign direct investment just last year, after the US and Brazil. People around the world are investing in Canada because they believe in Canadians, they believe in Canadian workers, they believe in the future we're building here. This government is doing the same thing. We are
Hey, if I was a foreign country and another country bribed me to come in with millions and millions of dollars to start my business there, I'd be like, sure, if you're gonna pay my startup costs, I'm there. There's no downside to that, and that's why they're coming over.
investing in the future of Canada by making sure kids have room in daycare so that their parents can get the jobs and careers that they want and that our economy needs them to do. We're investing in the kinds of resource economy that leads into the knowledge economy, whether it's leading the world on electric vehicle supply chains or drawing in global investment in strong jobs of the future. We are stepping up and investing in our future. We believe in Canadians. The world believes in Canadians. You know who doesn't believe in Canadians? Pierre Poilievre. Because his answer to what do you do with the strongest economy in the strongest fiscal balance sheet in the world right now is you cut. You cut programs that Canadians need. You cut the school food programs. It's going to save families $800 on grocery bills.
He almost slipped up there. He was just about to say his big lie. Canada's the strongest economy in the world. I think that goes to the United States, sir. Actually, it might be China now. I'm not quite sure. Well, you're gonna have to go into that in another video.
You cut the spots in childcare that are allowing women to get back into the workforce and build those careers they need. You cut the programs that are delivering for Canadians right when they need it. We have the strongest macro balance sheet in the G7. We believe in putting that in service of Canadians by investing in them. And the answer the Conservatives are bringing forward is, oh no, we'll create growth and opportunities through cutting programs Canadians are relying on. That's the choice that people get to make in these upcoming by-elections. That's the choice people are going to make next year. And I can't wait to continue getting into it this fall with Pierre Poilievre, whose perspective is cuts are the only way forward, because I know that confident countries invest in their future, invest in their workers, invest in their people, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
And that was not the question she even remotely asked. And I've been noticing this with Justin Trudeau, and I don't know if other people have really been talking about this too much. But whenever he says this thing about childcare and daycare, he always goes out and says, we're going to put more, make sure there's more daycares built and more rooms in daycares, and so women can get back to work and so women can work. What if a woman wants to be a stay-at-home mom? What if a woman wants to, when they have kids, what if they want to raise their kids instead of going to work? Or what if they only want to maybe work part-time? You're taking that option away from them by increasing the cost of living. And I don't you're taking the freedom away from families to choose whether or not they can have full-time mom. And that's a shame. And has been a thing with this government for the longest time. And I've been noticing it over and over and over and over again. He wants to get women back into the workforce. He wants to get women back to this. He wants to have if we have such a strong economy and if we have such good jobs and all of that, Canadians should be able to choose whether they can just be single income household and still make it and still have a good life. But you've made it so bad out there that Canadians don't have a choice anymore. Now it has to be a dual person household. Now we need to send our kids to daycare. And that's why the daycares are so filled up, is because every family has to give their kid to daycare to even survive. Like I said, that's just an interesting thing I've noticed through all of his interviews. And he goes on about Pierre Poilievre's cuts. Well, if you started cutting some of your useless programs, maybe Canadians would have a little bit more money in their pocket to actually invest in things they want. Invest in what they deem as important rather than what you deem as important. Maybe if he started cutting some things and spent less money, then we wouldn't have to rely on the government so much. Like how it used to. Right? In the Harper era, Canadians didn't have to rely on the government as much, and we still had awesome lives. I mean, they weren't perfect, but I was a kid back then, and if things were tight and things were wrong, I didn't know. And that's the way it should be. To be completely honest, thank you, Justin Trudeau, for being such a failure. And I look forward to seeing you against Pierre Poilievre in next question period at the House of Commons, because that will be such a pleasure. I'm going to get my popcorn ready and just laugh my way through. But that's all I have for you guys, folks. What do you think? Are you excited to see Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre go head-to-head in Parliament again? Let me know in the comments down below. Who do you think will win? Also, if you like this content and like this video, give this video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to subscribe, that would be awesome. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of this month. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link down below. And all of that goes straight back to the channel and to give you better and better videos. So other than that, have a good day.